Ooh, what's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. Big shout out to my doggy JL Brand and Against All Transformers for coming through and boosting up the coin. So we got another crazy leak for you, man, right now, regarding Team Lightskin player member Chris the Lightskin Eubank Jr. He airs out Bricktop, Frank Warren. He airs out Massa Eddie Hearns the second, and he even airs out Kalle Snifferland as well. He says, "Kalle, yeah, you've been digging my pocket and putting up your nose." That's what he alleges. Some people are saying. Kalle was dipping that purse money, man. Listen, to be fair, Chris, I blame Edison Eddie. He been silver spoon. Frank Warren, he's been around money, but Kalle, people, yeah, do you know how easy it is? Do you know how easy? You can put probably 10 grand a month up your nose. Maybe, probably even more than that, if I'm honest. For these experienced Donnies, when you're getting that 10-10, yeah, he's probably, I don't know, he's probably paying. He's probably got the Daniel Kinahan Connect, right? He's probably getting that Primo, fresh from the import. Do you know what I'm saying? He ain't getting that bash thing that most of us man be getting, man. We get doo-doo bash. Come on now, people. Realistically, you man on the baby powder. That's the truth, man. Yeah? That's what they call placebo. You man get the placebo pack. Mr. Kalle Snifferland, he ain't getting no placebo. Yeah, he getting the old school thing, made with the proper bits that Pablo Escobar was doing. That's what he getting. He probably paying $1,000 a gram, if I'm honest. So Kalle probably doing 50, 100 bags a month, allegedly, some people might say. Do you understand? So, Chris, let off Kalle, man. It's not Kalle's fault. Yeah, he need rehab. Yeah, what's he supposed to do? Yeah? It ain't cheap. You're paying a bag a gram. Do you understand, people? 1,000 British Queen/King's heads per gram. Stop playing, Chris. Someone's money had to be dipped. Kalle don't have fighters like that. Stop being selfish, man. Stop being selfish, Chris. Yeah? About Kalle needs to buy his own gear. Come on, bro. Who really want to buy their own gear if they can dig your pocket? Stop playing. No, I'm messing. That's a big joke, people. Kalle's definitely not on the sniff. Yeah. He's definitely not paying 1,000 King's heads for the sniff per gram. Definitely not. That's all banter, people. Anyway, Chris has aired out the promoters, so let's cut straight to it and hit the bars. I'm not going to... It's a bit long and winded, so the question is, Chris, why did you pick Ben Shalong over Massa Hearns or Bricktop? Here we go.
Camp as well. On the promotional team, you've chosen boxer. Why?
Why boxer? Because every other promoter out here is a scumbag. That's why. You know, we've got Frank Warren behind me, been lying and cheating his way through boxing for the last couple of decades. Sued me for a couple $100,000 a few years ago, so obviously I was never going to go with him. Because he's scumbag. Kalle Sauerland, had me locked up.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
Kalle Sauerland had me locked up in a terrible contract for the last few years, squeezing money out of me at every opportunity.
Not Kalle.
Scumbag. Eddie Hearn, Frank Smith, they did everything they could to try and make this fight against Conor Benn still go ahead. Still go ahead.
Why'd you fight Hamza Sharad, scumbag?
After knowing that they, that he was on steroids. Scumbags. I would say the only. Promoter that I know for sure isn't a scumbag is His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. This is a man who isn't trying to take money from fighters. He isn't trying to use lawyers and accountants to lock fighters up in slave contracts. He's a man of God. He's a man of religion. That's what's most important to the people of Saudi Arabia. He just wants to put the biggest fights on, the best events on, and pay fighters what they're worth. And as a fighter, it's a blessing to be a fighter at this moment of time, because this is the first time we've ever had a promoter like this in the history of boxing. Ben Shalom's a very cool guy too.
Come on, man, listen, people, let me tell you the facts now. A lot of people have been jumping on this. I'm all for the banter, yeah? I'm all for the shits and gigs. I like things kicking off. That's the industry I'm in as such. I'll make a little piece. I'll make some scraps of bread. Yeah, so I'm all for this. But the truth is, man, get this light skin looking ass out of here, man. I don't want to hear no more from this guy, man. This guy's sitting here saying, essentially, it's great because Turkey's come along and he's paying me loads of money to fight bums. The bottom line is, yeah, a lot of nicks out there need to learn to read. That goes for Anthony Yardy. That goes for Eubank Jr. I don't want to hear about, oh, Kalle had me locked up. You signed it, yeah? You all got... Eubank has got millions. Why ain't he got lawyers? Why don't he read himself? You can't get locked into a contract these days. This ain't the 1950s. Yeah, you read the contract. If you don't agree to things in it, you don't sign it. Locked up where? Oh, there's a secret clause. It had to be in the contract. Otherwise, it's void. Yeah, the document you sign has to be all on there. There's no secret papers that weren't there. Yeah, so a lot of people, a lot of fighters are like this, even with the Don King situation. Again, it's a bit different back in them times, but end of the day, these are grown-ass men. Grown-ass men. Yeah? We can say, well, Mike Tyson was from the hood and he didn't know any better. Oh, Don King was charging me 10 grand a month for towels. It's bad. This is the importance, people. Don't sign things you're not comfortable with. We can all read. If you can read, and if you can't read, pay some corny shekel lawyer to come down and read for you. Make sure he's not on the away team though, because there's a lot of that going on. There is a lot. To be fair, there is a lot of that going around. Yeah, some of these promoters, they say things like, "Oh, yeah, I've got a lawyer you can use. You, Chris." They get you on that one, especially when you're new to the game. When you're new to the game, Eddie Hearn will say, "Don't worry, I'll sort that out for you. I've got a lawyer. I've got an in-house lawyer, or I've got a lawyer for you." It's definitely external third party to me. Oops, that's he's on the payroll, man. He's feeding things back. He's signing things off. Yeah, this contract's good, Chris. Bosh! It's fully moody. But still, you get one of your own. I mean, you don't even need a lawyer like that. All you have to do is read, man. It's pretty basic things. And a person in Chris Eubank's position, you've got leverage. You can say, don't put no legal jargon in there. I want bullet points of what's required of me in basic English. Bosh! You need to be there at 5 p.m. Bosh! We're charging you A, B, C, D. Everything bullet pointed in simple English. That's what you can do. Because you don't need all them big words they throw in there. You don't really need them. It's there to keep, essentially, low IQ cats getting bumped and your pockets dug. But you, come on, Chris, man, you 35 years old. And your daddy told you already, man. That's what, come on now. At some point you have to draw the line and say, hey, man, I'm a grown-ass man. My daddy been told me and I still got bumped. That's something with you. That's something in you to keep getting bumped. Like that. So that's my base case on the situation. Does that mean Frank Warren's the most... Listen, at the end of the day, people, if Frank Warren, whatever you sign on paper, that's what you're held to. That's why I'm not sure, but I don't really remember Frank Warren losing legal battles. He's normally pretty watertight. So, and I haven't, like, again, if he's really robbed money from you, sue him. Simple as that. It's really simple. Yeah? If Kalle Snifferland is borrowing, that's the thing about the gearheads, man. If you're a gearhead, when you take money from people, it is a borrow. It's not bad intentions often. Yeah, you had the best intention. I'm gonna give it back. 2 twos. Yeah, like I think Kalle, he taking the money, but he had the best intention of putting it back. That's the truth, man. You going through it. You can't hold Kalle Snifferland responsible for nothing, in my opinion. It's not his fault. Yeah. He has the monkey on his back, proverbially speaking. Do you understand, people? But now, on a serious note, get your shit together, man. Stop whining. We heard Eubank, fair enough. Eubank Senior came up in the era where it was more mafia-like, and even, I think, Barry Hearn said they were like slave contracts. So I tend to agree with that. The problem is, the new age, it's not like it used to be. It's not like it used to be, in my opinion. And if it's not, you should start winning some legal cases. You can only be held to what's on the paper. And if you didn't read the paper or you trusted someone else, that is a problem. You should be able to trust your lawyer, but I ain't trusting no one. I can read. That's the fuck I went to school for 10 years for. I can read myself. I don't need some old white man to tell me what's on the paper. I'll tell you what's on. I'll tell him what's on there. I'll tell him what I'm doing. I said, take that out, ain't happening. Put this in there. Bosh. Yeah? But a lot of these, when you get to the, I've never had money yet, but when you get to the money level, you start thinking that these institutions in place are to help you. Ooh, I'm going to go to a big bank and I'm going to put my money there. Yeah? Yeah, this big bank. Oops. The money's gone. We lost it, man. We lost it. Get one of my friends as well. He's not an Uber boss, but he had, 700 grand or whatever. And these big bosses said, yeah, put it in these bonds. Oops. He down 50%. You go for it right now. That's the part I'm making. You see these big names. Citibank, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Bosh, Bosh. Oops. You'd have been better off just slapping it in an index fund and putting it there. So, same with lawyers. Lawyers. Pocket diggers. That's all it is, really. Pocket diggers on your naivety / lack of knowledge. It's well proven. All the investment cats, it's documented. They underperform on average. All them top level investment cats dig in your pocket for however much you're paying them. They underperform passive investing. You can just throw coin at the S&P 500 and you're going to get better returns than all these goofies with a suit on. Oops. Now the lawyer situation, if you're going through criminal shticks, it's different. But as far as business contracts go, it's, in my opinion, it's super simple, man. It's super simple. You either agree to certain things or you don't. And Chris clearly agreed to them. Now he's saying, I've been tied up. What Chris means to say is he's signed to be tied up for whatever reason. At the time, that's no problem with a lot of athletes, yeah? Their value might be something 4 years ago. So they signed something. I think Devin Haney maybe, I'm not sure, but there's plenty of examples of it, yeah? Your value may be £100 4 years ago. So you sign a 4-year contract. 2 years into that 4-year contract, you're now on and popping. So you now believe, I want something more. That's not how it works. At the time, you was grateful for them 4 years of bread. You was buzzing for it. Now you want a few fights and now I need to be paid now. No. That's not how it works. The promoter took a risk on your ass, essentially. You could have got clipped early on, in 6 months in, and that guaranteed $2 million purse per fight, you'd have been laughing at, right? That said, a lot of promoters, they put clauses in there. It's kind of like, well, we guarantee you $2 million a fight for the next 4 years, or something like that. But if you lose, they put a kind of loosey-goosey clause in there, yeah? $2 million a year per fight, assuming you win every fight. On the flip side, the clause is, if you lose a fight, it's going to be some discretionary amount. Oops, 100 grand. That's what you have to be careful for. All the things ain't in black and white. But again, you can read that. It will have to say in there that you get bumped if you lose, or whatever else. So Chris, man, you're a grown-ass man now, 35-year-old. And your daddy told you, that's 50 years of generational knowledge there he got. He got 15 of his own years. He's got 30 of his dad's years. How many more years these man need, man, to read? How many more? And if there is real bad practices going on, start suing people. It don't cost that much to sue. Where the money comes in, taking things through the court yourself is actually pretty cheap. It's not that expensive. It's when you start bringing old white man in, the dig pocket man. That's when it gets expensive. Because I was going through someone the other day and it was like, to send a letter, for a lawyer to send a letter out, they're charging like $500 for a letter. Or for a consultation. I'm thinking, fuck, I'll do it myself. You know what I'm saying? To write a letter. Or to have a consultation for an hour or two. The fuck? I need some of that. I don't even think you get to meet the real lawyer. You pay £500 for a consultation, yeah? I think you meet what's the sideman of the lawyer called? It's like, what do they call it? It's like not a jester, a legal jester essentially, but there's a special name for it. He just a boxing analogy, he'd be a bucket holder. Yeah? It's like a pre-law dude. I forgot the name of it. Something with a P, I think. I don't know, man. It's like that guy. That's what you get. You get to sit there with some beta dude. Wait, I'm paying $500 an hour for a beta dude. You bugging? Again, I'll read it myself. And at least then, if you read something yourself and get bumped, it's like, well, no one to blame but myself. You trusted all these people, whatever else, and now you mad and bitter. Yeah, it's not Eddie's fault. That's the game, people. That's the game we playing. When you're doing things on paper, it's the paper game. You got to make sure your paper's tight or not, or take it somewhere else. No point complaining over spilt milk. Yeah, because to be fair, Chris Eubank's been complaining. He's been bouncing around. That's why he's had so many different promoters. And to be fair, no one else really complains. Yeah, it tends to be the uppity nicks, to tell the truth. It tends to be them ones. Devin Haney, he's always moaning, even though, you know what I'm saying, he moaning about something. He wants something for nothing. Yeah? It's the uppity ones that tend to have a problem. Everyone else is... People, who else complaining like that? Didn't hear Tony Bellew complaining. Chizuro's complaining, but he's always complaining, but yet he's still fighting with people, so if that makes sense. Chizuro will complain about Frank, and then 4 years later he's working with him, so it wasn't that bad. I think most people it's a safe place to always be a victim. Oh, the life's just happening to me and I had nothing to do with it. Yeah, the fact my daddy been telling me for 30 years to watch out and I've still been getting cut, I'm a victim. That's the vibe I got. Yeah, I got the victim vibes from Chris Eubank. Grown ass man, 35-year-old man. Do you know how much nans Chris Eubank will have experienced in his life, people? Hanging with Dan Bilzerian. Come on now, stop playing. A man who's experienced that much nans, I don't want to hear no victim or, oh, life happened to me. Because it wasn't happening to you when you was in the nans. Right, you was Big Daddy then. Don't tell me you're Big Daddy in front of the females and now some old white man, he got you all bent out of shape. That's whack. Tighten up, man. Start reading. That's what you about need to do. Start reading the paper it's signing. And really, you don't need a whole bunch of IQ for that. Yeah, I learned at 15, 16. Not that I've always... Listen, have I broke contracts before? People. Yeah, 100%. Santander, they're still waiting for their $2,500 back. They're still waiting for that. They've been waiting for their $2,500 back. So, it's one of them. Yeah, it's one of them. Essentially. It's oops for them right now. They're still looking for it. Yeah? That's on them. Do you understand? Obviously, it has implications for myself, but that is... You won't hear me crying about, oh, I was only 18 years old when I took this uni credit card out and I ran it up and, oh, I didn't know. I knew. I knew what I was doing in the day, and it is what it is. Yeah? They're still butthurt and looking and crying and whining, and my credit rating's shot, so it's one of them. Do you understand? But again, you won't hear me whining, oh, I was only 18, I took advantage, and... Nah, man. Grown-ass man. Yeah, grown-ass man. Anyway, let's get to the specific points here. I think he put specificities out there. Specificities, here we go.
Why boxer? Because every other promoter out here is a scumbag. That's why. You know, we've got Frank Warren behind me, been lying and cheating his way through boxing for the last couple of decades. Sued me for a couple $100,000 a few years ago, so obviously I was never going to go with him. You know.
Yeah, if Frank Warren sued you, did he win the case? I assume so. Why did he win the case? Because he had you guts to guts on the paper. You agreed to something, didn't deliver in some way, and you owe him money. That is how life works, people. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's irrelevant. No one make you put your 25, 35-year-old looking ass pen to paper. No one makes you do that. And if it was coerced, and if it was forced, say that. Say Frank Warren came round with his Bricktop snatch looking goons and they pressed me to do the paper like Suge Knight and Vanilla Ice. Yeah? Frank Warren dangled me over the hotel room looking like Vanilla Ice and Suge. And it was one of them. He ain't saying that though. Yeah? He ain't saying that. Is Frank dirty? Is Frank not dirty? People, do you know how many contract disputes there are? Yeah? It happens all the time. It doesn't mean you're particularly dirty. People agree to things at one point in time and then don't agree so much and don't want to do it, if that makes sense. It's a big mess. A big mess. That's why really you have to be careful what you put your name to. What are you really agreeing to? You have to think of all the outcomes. If I agree to this today, if in 2 years, am I going to be happy with that if things blow up for me? If not, don't sign. Yeah? Now, I do believe, and that's why Eddie Hearn did lock AJ up, but that's his prize bull, right? AJ is Massa Eddie Hearn's the second's. That's his prize bull, his prize Mandinga fighter. He been milking him, but AJ seems to like it. He don't mind it. Although I'm not sure AJ is that conscious. Yeah, I think all Eddie has to do is say, "You're right, AJ, mate. You're a warrior, mate." And AJ's like, "Wicked," and the signs. I don't get the idea. I don't think he's really thinking. So it might come out in the future. Well, we know people. Yeah, if AJ made 100 million, how much do you think he's got left after all the pocket diggers? You understand? I don't know what's in his name. Eddie Hearn's probably like, "Yeah, don't worry, AJ. I'll buy this house for you. Put it in my name." One of them once. Spending. Is it them scams there? That's how them scams can go sometimes. Yeah. Buy it with his money and put it in Eddie Hearn's name. Oops, you got no recourse then. It was a gift, buddy. Big gift because I was a top promoter now. I'm money messing. That's a made up story. Allegedly, some people were saying, not the YB Sports man. I know Eddie's straight, man. There's no way Massa Hearns. There's no way the great descendant of Calvin Candy could be doing that thing to his top Mandinga fighter. He's washed up Mandinga as well. It's the worst right now for Jon Stewart. And the way AJ talks about his smart investments, that's worrying for me. He sounds to me like he's confident with what other people do with it. Yeah, I got real estate, I got bitcoins. Have you though? Yeah, have you really got them though? You know what I mean? Anyway.
Guy's a scumbag. Kalle Sauerland, had me locked up.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
Kalle Sauerland had me locked up in a terrible contract for the last few years, squeezing money out of me at every opportunity. Scumbag. Eddie Hearn, Frank Smith. They did.
There you go, people. Kalle Sauerland had a contract squeezing money out of me. It would have been on writing, people. It would have been in writing. If it wasn't, you need to take him to court and sue him. It was in writing. So Chris Eubank's just butthurt. Is it right? Is it wrong? No, I'll make you. At that point in time in particular, Eubank wasn't a new starting fighter. He had clout. He didn't really have to sign anything he didn't want to. He did. So, come on now. This isn't a big, I hate to break it, it's not a big expose like people are making out. If you read a lot of the comments, they're saying, "I like it for the banter's sake." For the banter, it's great, it's funny, it's edgy, whatever else. But the meat and potatoes of this, it's just whining essentially. Yeah. An expose would be, you've shafted me and done something outside of what I signed to. That's what a dirty promoter is. I signed to ABCD terms and you've made up new terms. That's dirty. That's it.
Did everything they could to try and make this fight against Conor Benn
still go ahead.
Still go ahead.
Why'd you fight Hamza Shiraz, scumbag?
After knowing that they...
Why don't you fight Hamza Shiraz? And again, this is why Chris goes on to suck Turkey off. Because, really... I don't know, Chris, Devin Haney, I get they're always playing the victim. They're always the victim, if that makes sense. Life's always happening to them, but they're happy to fight bums. Yeah? Chris is happy to fight bums. Now for me, as a fan, that's a fraud. Yeah? The real fraud is the fact you're getting paid $4 million to fight a bum. I'm hurt by that. Right? And that's why Chris loved Turkey, because Turkey prepared to pay him for whatever reason. $4 million, X amount of 2, 3, and what? I think he made about $1 million actually. Billy Joe said it's about $1 million he's making. He's making $1 million to fight a bum. That's why he liked Turkey. Money for nothing. Well, you don't like that. That doesn't mean what Turkey's doing is right either. That's not right. The Saudi shows are supposed to be, we pay you top dollar for top fights. We've had Chris Eubank fighting bums for years. I'm not interested. So, on the weight of the evidence, I'm with the promoters on this one. Yeah, on the weight of the evidence, who's brought more good at this point in time? Eubank had some decent fights, but the weight of the evidence is Eubank's taking the piss. There's a reason every promoter has a problem with him. Every promoter has a problem with him. No one really wants to work with him. He's hard to work with. Like, for example, I don't understand the Billy Joe fight. Billy Joe came out and said, "We want to fight Eubank, but Eubank won't give me a warm-up fight." Meanwhile, Eubank wants a warm-up fight to fight Carrot Top. Listen, I think I'll put money on it as well, big money. I'll save up to put money on Eubank beating the brakes off Billy Joe. I'm just on principle. I don't even have to analyse the fight. On principle. Eubank will smoke Billy Ho. He's no good. Finished. He was never no good. Never no good. So I don't know why Eubank's playing games for. Power games. No, you must fight me off a 4-year break. Why? I'd give Billy Joe 2 warm-ups. Yeah, I'd say Billy Joe, over the next 6 months, or 4 months, have 2 warm-ups back to back, and then we'll go in after 10 months. Or X amount, or whatever, you get the point I'm making. Yeah? You have 2 warm-ups within a year, or fight me within a year, and you can have as many warm-ups as you want. If you want to have 3 warm-ups, or 1 warm-up, or 2 warm-ups, you got a year. We're going to fight September 25, sorry. That's what you should have signed up to. Instead, he's fighting a bum. For what? A complete bum he's fighting. So you won't give Billy Joe a warm-up fight, but you'll fight a bum instead. Who want to watch that? No one. No one wants to watch that. And it's hypocritical because he wants to warm up before Canelo. Oh, I want Canelo, but it's not right. So make your mind. Things are either right or they're wrong. It's either okay for you to have a warm-up fight for Canelo, and it's okay for Billy Ho to have a warm-up to fight you, or it's not okay at all. But Eubank does have this, like his dad, I think, he has this, well, no, tell a lie. His dad has ego, but it's based on, he really believes it. Junior, he don't. He's just fighting bums, right? So, it's like an ego power thing. Yeah, I won't give Billy Joe a warm-up, but I can have one. And that's probably why none of these promoters like the guy. It's all about, there's no middle ground. It's either I get my own way, or you're frauding me, or you're faking me. That's it, people. And he also he's ducking Hamza. Bottom line, yeah, he's ducking Hamza. That's the fight I want to see. I want to see Billy Joe, Hamza, Canelo. That's it. Billy Joe, Hamza, Canelo. Any one of them 3. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see random bums in there. You're 35 years old. How many more random bums do we need to see Eubank in there with? How many more? Really, what decent fighters he has had? Let's think. He's 35 and he's had about 2 or 3 good fights. Liam Smith, with all due respect, Liam Smith was washed up, right? Liam Smith wasn't a contender when Eubank fought him, so you can forget about that as well. De Gale wasn't a contender when he fought him. He was washed to pieces. So really, you've got George Groves, who was half washed. Carl Frochie bin had his ass 5 years before, right? The old generation bin washed George Groves, but okay, you fought him. I'll give you Groves. That's it. You fought George Groves and Billy Joe. And Billy Joe's no good. That was not Billy Joe's best performance I've seen in box when he fought Eubank. So you've had 1 good fight and you lost. That's your resume now. Let's call a spade it, people. He's had 1 competitive fight with someone in form and at prime age. De Gale was shot to pieces. Yeah, James DeShot. I told you that already at the time. James DeShot. There was nothing Gale about him. Yeah? De Gale, or the word Gale, inspires thoughts of kind of pace, right? A gale wind. Where was no gale? James DeShot is what it was looking like to me. Do you understand, people? So what are we talking about here? Liam Smith was washed up. He was washed to pieces and he knocked you out. Well, he knocked you out. Liam Smith washed to pieces. Liam Smith don't even want to tangle with Josh Kelly. Yeah? Don't want to duck that fight. So Liam Smith's washed. And still you got knocked out by him. Listen, your comeback performance was great. But again, it was a washed up dude. When have we see Eubank hasn't had 1 fight where he's looked great against a top prime opposition. Yeah, there was time ago when Demetrius, before Benavidez had a go on Demetrius Poo Andrade, who had a belt or 2, Demetrius Andrade was calling out Eubank saying, "Come get my belt." Eubank was nowhere to be found, and that's my issue with Eubank. He need to focus on not fighting bums and not digging pocket. So the person who's consistently been morally out of key is Eubank. He wants these promoters to pay him loads of money to do nothing, essentially. Again, even the Liam Smith fight was really a nothing burger. It was supposed to be a nothing burger. It was supposed to be, okay, Chris Eubank is fighting another dude who's over the hill. We've seen that story 1,000,000 times already. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. People smash it like, oh yeah. And finally, Eddie Hearn did say at the end that he believes Eubank was put up to it. We know Hearn and Shalong have been going at it. So he says that Eubank was put up to airing out. I mean, I think that's probably true. I don't like Ben. A lot of people rate him. I don't like Ben. I don't know. Well, it's one of them ones for Ben, but I don't like Ben. I think he's corny. Like, Eddie Hearn put it on him. I listen. I like Eddie. Eddie put it on Simon Jordan. Simon, we can squabble for charity. We ain't got to be doing all this internet shit. I rate that. Whether Eddie Hearn silver spooned or corny or whatever else, when it came down to it, someone in his league, Ben Shalong's in his league. In that sense. In fact, Ben Shalong's 30 years old and Eddie Hearn's knocking on 50, so well in his league. Same as Simon Jordan. These guys are all... It's not like Eddie Hearn's picking on... It's not like Eddie Hearn's a promoter / former boxer and he's picking on promoters. Eddie Hearn's as corny as they get. It's as square as they get. He put it on Simon. Simon flapped it. He put it on Shalong. Shalong's talking about, oh, it was assault. It's corny ass dude, man. That's corny, man. Step up. Yeah? Step up, Ben Shalong. You're 30 years old. You're supposed to be high T at that point. Eddie Hearn should be low T. If Eddie Hearn wasn't hanging out the back of Sky Nicholson, his T would be low right now. Yeah, Sky stay boosting that T up. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, people. Smash the like button, subscribe, like off the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this one, people. Stop it.